What is up, guys? Bank your moats. You can summon a Rikakis here, and today we are going to be showcasing the brand new exotics that just hit Destiny 2. As of today, Season of the Drifter is live. You can play Gambit Prime, you can play Reckoning, you can play all this new content, but something that somewhat flew under the radar was the addition of brand new exotic armor and weapons. And the best part is that these are available to get, well, for the most part, right now. They've been added to the exotic loot pool, so if you're lucky enough to get an exotic engram drop, and then lucky enough to get one of these brand new Season of the Drifter exotics, well, that's all there is to it, really. Now, actually, someone even tweeted me a picture of one of the new armor pieces we're going to go over, so these are dropping literally this second. And although obviously I don't have all of these new exotics already, they are available to look at the database, which is what we're going to do. Now, just before we get started, I want to mention that another thing that hit Destiny 2 today was a new sandbox update. I covered it in a separate video, it's linked up above, highly recommend checking it out. There is some massive buffs, especially to PvE, including a 65% damage increase to rocket launchers, so definitely check that out to see what's new. So let's get started here with the armor pieces, and we're going to begin with the Getaway Artist exotic gauntlets for the Warlock. These feature the exotic perk Dynamic Duo. Hold to convert your arc grenade into a supercharged arc soul. The arc soul functions as an autonomous turret. Now that sounds pretty darn cool. The Warlock does have some other abilities that utilize its grenade and melee charges, handheld supernova, and getting health back, etc. But this is finally going to apply that to the Stormcaller subclass. And if you can remember, the Arc Soul is a perk for the Stormcaller that grants you a little floating orb that shoots at nearby enemies when you or allies step in your rift. This is taking the rift out of the equation. Now you'll consume that grenade, and an empowered Arc Soul means it's pretty much just going to do a lot more damage. Really interesting to see how this plays out, because having, a second gun follow you around, especially if it lasts a long time, that could be very, very especially potent. If you consider that the Warlock has plenty of abilities to get its abilities quicker. So you're going to be able to get your grenades back pretty often, therefore summon a lot of empowered Arc Souls if you build your build like that. Now, moving on from there, we have another pair of exotic gauntlets, this time for the Hunter, the Liar's Handshake. The exotic perk here is Cross Counter. Using your arc melee ability or being hit by a melee attack will allow you to follow up with an extremely powerful melee counterpunch that will heal you. So that's, again, really interesting. It sounds like you can use it in two ways. You get hit by someone or a thrall or whatever it is, then your next melee does much more damage than normal and is going to heal you. So your survivability goes up quite a bit, especially if you do get into a melee fight, if you are attacked by melee focus adds in PvE, stuff like that. But considering you can use your arc melee ability, it sounds like as long as your arc melee is charged, you run up, use that, and then it can immediately follow it up with that double punch of doing that, extra damage healing blow from cross counter. So you can either use it defensively, get hit back to heal yourself and hopefully kill that guy, or offensively, go out, hit the guy with the melee, and then hit him again for the extra damaging second melee as well. Really interesting, and I'm really excited to see how that plays out in game. And in fact, that sounds pretty powerful for PvP, being able to hit an enemy with a melee charge, follow it up, finish off that enemy likely, and then get your health back too. Like, that seems really good. But it is time to move on to yet another pair of exotic gauntlets, this time for the Titan, and these are pretty crazy. It's the Stronghold, and its exotic perk is Clenched Fist. Guarding with swords increases move speed and does not drain ammo. Shots blocked immediately after guarding will heal you. So these are the sword exotics in Destiny 2. If you like swords and you got a Titan, you want to get yourselves a pair of the Stronghold, because that sounds very powerful. Especially the first part, guarding with swords increases move speed and does not drain ammo. So that means you can guard infinitely. So once you get sword ammo in PvP or wherever, you can just run around guarding every single attack that's hitting you, every single one. You can walk around in PvP fully guarded, walk directly at opponents, and then when you get close enough, just smack them. Like, the potential plays with this seem really absurd. In fact, these Stronghold Gauntlets could single-handedly make swords viable in certain PvP aspects. Like, I'm just trying to think of how powerful infinite guard is going to be, because that's what you get with this. It doesn't use up ammo, which is the only reason people aren't guarding constantly right now, is because it drains your ammo. The resiliency of the second part of the perk seems really good too. When you stop guarding to go and attack someone and you get shot up from behind their teammate, wherever, you can then kill that enemy with just one swipe really, and then turn to the other guy, start guarding again. It'll heal you. You'll get your health back. Then you just keep guarding, walk to that guy as he helplessly tries to run away, and then smack him down. Like, again, it seems very powerful, and for PvE applications as well. Basically, Infinite Guard is a very powerful ability. It's going to let you soak up so much damage. Like, you can potentially tank some boss, damage output, and everything while your teammates go to town. Really, really want to get my hands on these, honestly. But moving on from there, we have the weapons, and the first one is a brand new exotic linear fusion rifle, the Arbalest, or however the heck this is actually pronounced. But the cool thing about this is it's a linear fusion rifle that goes in your kinetic slot. That's right, a kinetic linear fusion rifle. It's going to use special ammo apparently, and this thing has got a couple of unique perks. Firstly, its exotic perk is Compounding Force. Fires slugs that cause massive damage to elemental shields of enemy combatants. So again, even though it's in that kinetic slot, it's almost going to be functioning as an energy weapon, doing way more damage to shields. Now, that is cool, but it's certainly not the most insane exotic perk. Well, that is until you combine it with the fact that it has, harkening back to the Escalation Protocol SMG, it has Disruption Break. Breaking an enemy's shield with this weapon makes them more vulnerable to kinetic damage for a brief period. Now, on the Escalation SMG, that was a cool combo because the SMG was an energy weapon. You'd break their shield with the SMG, switch to your kinetic, and do more damage. I think I tested it and it did something like 70% more damage. It's a significant damage bonus. But this is a kinetic weapon. It's got that Compounding Force exotic perk that makes it almost act like an energy, so that means you can totally destroy enemy shields with this weapon, and then it gives itself the damage bonus from Disruption Break, doing massive damage once you've lowered that shield. So that is a wombo combo built into this gun, and if it's, even outputting a decent amount of damage, especially if Disruption Break is still a 70% damage increase, this could do some pretty gross things in terms of DPS whenever you take down a shield. But that aside, I'm just really interested to finally get to experience a linear fusion rifle in a slot outside of the heavy slot, so that's pretty cool as well. Alright, now moving on from there, we have one more weapon to go over. Unlike the rest of those, this one is not going to be available right now. It's the Thorn exotic hand cannon. It's being added in an exotic quest coming out on March 12th. So as long as you do that quest, on that date or beyond, you will get this weapon. And we can see its exotic perks. The impact range, stability, handling, a little bit weird there. Like magazine, it says 70. Obviously, these stats are not 100% correct. Some of them could be, but they're likely some placeholder stats. The real reason we're looking at this weapon now is because we get to see its exotic perks. And they're actually unique, and they're actually quite a bit different than the old Thorn. So firstly, we have the Mark of the Devourer. Rounds pierce targets and deal damage over time. Kills with this weapon leave behind remnants. So the first part, that's what we had with D1. Just piercing targets and damage over time. The remnants, what's going on there? Well, it has to do with the second unique perk, Soul Devourer. Absorbing a remnant strengthens Mark of the Devourer and partially refills the magazine. So if you kill an enemy with this brand new Thorn, they leave behind something on the ground, you pick that up, your Mark of the Devourer is going to actually do more, so it's going to deal more damage over time. So that means that if you potentially get a certain amount of remnants, you could potentially be able to 2-headshot kill enemies with the strengthened Mark of the Devourer, which is a definite throwback to year 1 of Destiny 1, where the Thorn was a 2-shot headshot kill and was terrorizing the Crucible. This obviously makes you do quite a lot more work. The fact that you have to not only get the first kill at least to get it going, but you have to go to where you killed that enemy. And obviously enemies are often located near other enemies and often in not the best lines of sight and whatever. So you have to play aggressively with this new Thorn. But I mean, again, if you're picking up remnants and you can start 2-hitting people, whew, it's going to be worth it playing aggressively, let me tell you. Guys, that is it for the video. Those are the new exotics that were added to the game. I hope you enjoyed, found this informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. And if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKakis. That's linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.